When someone says Wisconsin Dells, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Noah's Ark, the Kalahari, the Wisconsin Ducks, or perhaps Deer Park. But what if I told you before those were there? Heck, even before Wisconsin Dells was known as the water park capital of the world, it was known for its beauty, and most of the attractions were built around it, like the boat tours. Sadly, in the 80s, the water parks moved in, pushing the old attractions out. Now, before we start, Tommy Bartlett's ski show isn't going to be on the list, since it's going to get its own video in the future. And if you like the Wisconsin Dells, hit that like and subscribe button, so you will be updated when I make the Tommy Bartlett video. Now, let's take a look at the defunct and forgotten tourist attractions of Wisconsin Dells. Well, not exactly in Wisconsin Dells. The Wonder Spot was opened in 1952 off of Route 12 in Lake Delton, Wisconsin. This spot was advertised as a place where the laws of natural gravity seem to be repelled. For $5, you could take a tour down a ravine into a cabin. Inside that cabin, marbles seemed to roll upwards, chairs balanced on two legs, water flowed backwards, and no one could seem to stand upright. It all seemed magical, but in the truth, the house was built perpendicular to the hill, so everything inside was just an optical illusion. According to multiple sources, over 50,000 people visited the Wonder Spot per year. Sadly, the number of visitors began to drop in the late 80s when water parks began to pop up in the Dells. Somehow, this attraction hung on until 2006 when it closed and was sold to the village of Lake Delton. It sat abandoned into 2007 when it was bulldozed and made into a road. Luckily, before it closed, the owner and village donated pictures and even some props to the Wisconsin Historical Society. If you want to learn more about the Wonder Spot, you can see the photos and props at the Wisconsin Historical Society's Madison branch. Opening in 1952, Storybook Gardens was the oldest permitted attraction in the Dells. From the moment you parked your car, you were engulfed by the magic. You'd enter the park via a boat, and I don't mean the Disney way. Oh no, I mean the gift shop and entrance was a literal ship. Once you pass through the ship, your childhood dreams come true. A well-trimmed lawn, 4 ponds, and a miniature train, and a piece of resistance. Well, pieces. 25 exhibits based off of fairy tale characters like Cinderella and Pinocchio. The best part of Storybook Gardens was the walk-around characters. Now in the later years, Storybook Gardens teamed up with Tim Vadavi Wildlife Park to try to keep up with the water parks that were popping up, but even the live animals weren't enough. After the 2010 season, it closed for good. Now the entrance is used for firefighter training exercises, and the parking lot is used for Zor Park. In the rest of the park, well, everything that wasn't sold or auctioned off still sits there to this day. Such a sad ending to a beloved attraction, but not as sad as her sister park. Biblical Gardens was a sister attraction to Storybook Gardens. It was a shady oasis where you could relax on a hot summer's day without worrying about sunburn. Biblical Gardens was started by a woman from Dixon, Illinois called Miss Ava Newsom. Her and her husband made 15 almost life-size statues based on scenes from the Bible, like 12-year-old Jesus in the temple, or the manger scene, and the faces of these statues were based on her friends and family from Dixon. The gardens were opened in 1961, but lasted only 36 years before closing, unlike her sister park, who lasted 54. Like her sister park, when it was closed off, the statues were auctioned off. While the statues now stand at Camp Phillip, a summer retreat center, the rest of the garden remains abandoned to this day. Now, this attraction is tricky because it still exists to an extent, as one of the original attractions still exists to this day, so I'll keep this entry short. Familyland opened as a small amusement park in Wisconsin during the water park boom of the 80s. Soon it expanded, adding a water park next to the amusement park. In 2004, the owners partnered with the family that owned the resorts next door, and boom, Familyland became Mount Olympus. Today, the only real remnants of Family World is the mini golf course, now called Dementor's Putt-Putt. Ever wished you were at a carnival 24/7? That's the feel Riverview Park gave. Sure, it was a water park, but the out-of-water activities made it seem like you were at a carnival. This park had a few roller coasters like the Super Loop and a mouse coaster, but its main thing was its water park. Opening in 1968, Riverview Park predicted the rise of water parks in the Dells. Now, while yes, the water park side of Riverview Park was popular, the owners decided that the best financial decision would be to put all their money and resources into the water park section. Even before the park closed in 2011 due to predictable financial troubles, all the roller coasters were closed and left abandoned until its closure. There isn't much information on this attraction, but it seemed to be a tourist attraction from the 50s that focused on fairy tales and dinosaurs. This attraction was along Highway 12, now called Wisconsin Dells Parkway, near the river, and people would walk down its path looking at scenes inspired by fairy tales and see sculptures of dinosaur. Now, Timber Falls Golf is on the land. See you all in the next video. Bye-bye.